Find yourself looking around at your friends, neighbors, family members, just people in your community that you feel like they have it all. And you're feeling a little bit jealous. Like, how come my family can't be like that, theirs? How come my kids can't act like theirs? How come my marriage can't feel as awesome as theirs seems to be? Then today's video is for you. For today's journal, it says, I talked to my best friend today and I left the conversation feeling jealous. That sounds awful to say, but her life just feels so put together. Her husband plans date nights. She has time for a hobby. She's not rich, but she's not constantly worried about money. She asked how I was doing, and I didn't even know what to say. I didn't want to lie, but I also didn't want to sound like a total mess. I hate feeling like I'm always the one who needs encouragement instead of the one who gives it. All right, now we're going to use the Fortitude Framework to get unstuck from this. Hey, you do not need to feel bad at all. I actually really loved your journal today because I feel like so often we feel so like bad about feeling things like that. And so to me, I was just like, "Oh, so happy that you feel like safe to tell me that, to tell your real, honest, raw thoughts so that we can apply the Fortitude Framework again. Let's go. So for this, internal honesty, right? So I'm probably going to say something that you're probably not expecting. Like I feel like so often, like when we say things like that, it's very like, oh no, your life is great. Don't feel bad. Don't be jealous, you know? Everything is great. You do have a beautiful life and all that. And I'm like, why do we do that? Like, I want you to feel empowered. I want you to feel like, oh, you know? And so that's kind of like what the framework allows you to do. And so just a little teaser. So next week, you're going to be doing something called the ultimate aim, where we're going to be asking you and kind of walking you through, like, okay, what is it that you want in your life? Like, what do you want? I actually think that I'm really happy that you brought this up. First off, like, I think it's a gift that you have her as a friend because if you've ever heard, like, I'm a big believer in you become who you are around. And like even your family, like if you're hanging out with them a lot, like your kids are going to become like their kids, you know, your spouses become like their spouse, you're going to become like them. Like I just feel like who you are around you really do model a lot of who they are. And so first off, like if you really feel like, you know, like she's a great mom, a great marriage, great whatever, I'm like, what a beautiful thing. Like I think that's like such a gift in itself, right? That you know, you actually get to be around that so that hopefully you can adopt and like learn from it. And so that's actually kind of like the direction that I want to go with this gift shift lift is like having the internal honesty to be like, okay, if the unbiased reality is, her kids behave great, you know, the thought that could be with that, or like the fear could be with that is like, oh, my kids just aren't like that. Like they just are crazy. And, like she's just lucky. Her kids were just born great, you know? And in which case, obviously, that would cause like the feeling to be like jealousy and all of that. But like, let's say now we take the unbiased reality and now we have like a different thought. Now that we have the unbiased reality by itself, can I have hopeful curiosity about something like a gift, a value, something beautiful? So I already gave you one of them. One, that if she's your friend, you can actually like have her in your influence of and her kids and her marriage or whatever to actually like help you in your marriage. But also, like I think that something that's always really important to think about is hopeful curiosity of do I have thoughts that tell me that I can't have those things? Like I can't have a good marriage or I can't have kids that behave well or I can't be more in shape because I'm like so big boned like I can't even tell you how long for like there's been so many times in my life where I've realized that for so many years I thought something and then I decided to actually start like learning and doing things to like make shifts to change something like out of like a hopeful curiosity of like, is that a lie? Is that even true? And then just making shifts and then realizing later, I'm like, oh, that like totally wasn't true. And I believed it for so long. Like being big boned was like one of them, which is like so embarrassing to say. Like now it's like embarrassing to say because I know people will probably be like, wow, really? You even thought that? There's no way. But I'm like, yeah, it's probably true for you too. Like, because for so many years, I just like, I really did believe that. And then I started like asking, I started like talking to more people and learning more things and making shifts. And then I realized I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm like not being found at all. Like I can totally like be like more healthy and be more in shape and be more fit and more all that. And it was blew my mind, which I know that that sounds like, Because usually when you're on the other side of it, like I remember being that person where I'm just like, yeah, that's nice that you're saying that, but you don't understand the marriage stuff that I have to deal with, or like the husband stuff to deal with, or the kids stuff I have to deal with. You don't understand all that. And it's so easy when you're on that side to be able to say, like, oh yeah, you could totally change it to these. But I honestly can't even testify enough because I feel like that's been true for so many different areas of my life, not just that one, but yeah, marriage, kids, all these things where I'm like, well, I want this thing and it feels out of reach. But then I have that hopeful curiosity of like, well, is it my thoughts that are telling me like, oh, you're never going to even be able to do that, so don't even try. Because I think that the feeling of jealousy, it's going to come from a thought that whatever it is that you see is not possible for you. So when you feel that it's not possible for you, that's when the feeling of jealousy is going to sit in. But if you have a different thought of like, wow, I really love that. I actually think that I want that in my life. And I think I want like a marriage that's like playful and fun like that. How do I do that? Then it's like you can actually talk to your friend with confidence and rather than just being like, oh yeah, I'm fine, like meh, even though inside you're just like instead you could just be like, I really, really admire this. Like, can you tell me like what were some of the things that like you found that has helped you with that? Like with this area of life. And I promise you that you'd be surprised how much a lot of it is actually stuff that I'm sure she has actually worked at, that it hasn't just like happened. I feel like more often than not, it's intentional decisions that have created specific results, right? So it's like thoughts, feelings, actions that get us results. And so if you can like even ask her, like, what were some of the actions you did? What were some of the thoughts you had? What were some and actually like opening up because then honestly it'll actually be an even more rich and fulfilling friendship. Like rather than you just sitting back and being like, instead you can be like, wow, I like this is an opportunity. This is a gift. There's so much value in getting to have a friend that is like 5 steps ahead of where I am now. So I can like be inspired and I can push myself and I can like and just so you know, it's not like she's like dragging behind you. Don't think that ever. Because honestly, like when someone has to think things through to a point where they're actually sharing, it lifts them up too. So it's like there's actually beauty like that. And so now I'm talking about the lift part. This is going to be beautiful for you, for your friendship, for your life. Anyway, and so I would actually say that this whole like hard thing that you're experiencing is a gift. I actually think that it's beautiful that there's obviously things that you recognize that you deep down want in your life. And it's just, and her having it or whatever is just bringing it to the forefront of, hey, in case you didn't know this, these are the things that you can have and should be working towards in your life. Like, I feel like sometimes it's like those things where it's like, we get so okay with just like, up the mundane, just like day to day, whatever. And sometimes I feel like we actually need like, oh, that I didn't know we could do that. Like I didn't know we could do that. If you've ever heard like this story of like the 4 minute mile, like nobody thought that they could run a 4 minute mile. They literally thought it was impossible for a human to do that until someone did it. And then like the next week, like all these other people did it because they were just like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was possible. And so I would say, I would question your thoughts and be like, when I'm feeling these things, is it because I think I cannot have it? And is that true? Or can I have it? And so then having that hopeful curiosity, like, is that possible? Embracing, that she's your friend and she can even help you with that, making the shifts you need to lift that, to actually lift you, yourself, your life, your friendship. Like, oh, so good. I'm excited for you. I think this is going to be great. Hey, I'm Tessa. I'm not a therapist. I'm just a girl who started a journal at one of the lowest points in my life and ended up consistently keeping that journal for now 18 years, which is crazy. But it was really just because I became obsessed with this question of how can we actually be happy when life is hard? Because I believed that we were meant to be happy. And so this journal was really me trying to figure life out, trying to figure God out, trying to figure hardships out. Like, how do we actually do this? And long story short, if you want like the whole story, I mean, it's only like 20 minutes. I'll link the video down below where I kind of like share more of my story. But the long story short, now people actually send me their journals and I actually respond and help them get unstuck using this simple, repeatable framework that I had discovered while I was keeping my journals.